Welcome back to the French Rugby Podcast with me, Tim Groves, ex-Scotland back row Johnny Beattie and former France hooker Benjamin Kaiser. It's the Beattie Kaiser derby this weekend, isn't it? Scotland v France, so we'll get onto that in just a minute. But how's your week been, guys? Johnny, has the baby arrived yet?
Not yet, mate. I was away with Amazon Prime Video, which was really good fun with Jill Douglas over in Italy for Italy-Scotland, which was probably the best 60 minutes I've seen Italy throw together ever, really. They were fantastic for 55 minutes, 60 minutes. And this weekend I was meant to be doing Italy-Fiji, but it's cancelled. But that's good timing. Mrs. is due to drop any second. If it doesn't come this weekend, she'll be induced on Tuesday. So fingers crossed this weekend, number 3 is here safely.
Wow. So next week you'll be a father of one more.
And the final one. Yeah, hopefully that's us done. That's us done. No more stresses. Yeah, fingers crossed everything will go right and it'll be here next week.
Definitely, fingers crossed for you all. Benji, how's your week then?
Not too bad, mate. A bit like every week in the building department, which means that things are going forward, but nothing's ever finished. So we're almost there, but nothing's finished. And then I was the other side last week that I was meant to do France-Fiji to kick off Autumn Nations Cup commentary, which I was really looking forward to, but it got cancelled, which links us up really nicely to the chat I think we should have about the hot game about this weekend, which is Scotland-France. And remember how we said, listen, typically French, in February 2020, we had a top team. We had finally a federation and a league that was trying to work together. And we're going all good. Six Nations has been absolutely fantastic. And then we're back in October thinking everything's solved. And then a week before the friendly, the first game against Wales, we didn't even know if the players were going to be released. Yeah. They got released. They played really well against Wales. They played incredibly well against Ireland. Finished this Six Nations 2020 on a high. But then we realized they can only do, I thought it was 3 times 80 minutes, but it's 3 match sheets. In over 6. So basically they were clearly going to say, let's go full on against Fiji just to launch the thing, keep the same team, keep that momentum. But then they will be forced to rotate against Scotland. And to be honest, Scotland at the moment are playing well. They're strong. They know each other inside out. They've got some quality players. The only players that they're missing are fly halves, but Duncan Weir is doing a grand job. And I was thinking, if you actually want to really keep on building on that dynamic, I understand you need some depth in your squad, okay? But there's nothing better than winning. And I was thinking, I would have done it differently. Maybe Fiji, no disrespect, but you could have at home, you could have sort of decided to do something else. But now the only good thing about this match being cancelled is that they did not use a match sheet. So they already released the squad for the Scotland game. They already almost named the team for the Fiji game. And then they did sort of a mix now with the new one. They're still keeping a few guys out to give them a few minutes next week. There's still going to be a few rotations within the squad. Some are forced, like Ntamak, who pulled out, and Boutier and all that over injuries. But some are just to actually test guys, and I think we can speak about it, especially with our future guest, because he knows them inside out. And if anything, I think that's the really tough game, is that Scotland-France one, and we will have a full French side for that game, which is awesome.
And as Benji said, that makes it tougher, doesn't it, for Scotland, Johnny?
Yeah, it does. But then from a French perspective, they've leapt over every hurdle that's been put in front of them this year, apart from that test during the Six Nations at Murrayfield. So that adds an extra bit of spice. For Fabian, he'll be like, okay, we've missed the game against Fiji. Firstly, it's really, really sad that Fiji aren't getting to play. It's the one time they're getting to get regular tests against Tier 1 nations. It's mortifying for them. I'm gutted for all the boys that are across, gutted for the coaching staff. But for France now, Fabian will see he's failed in one test this year. He's failed in that one test in Edinburgh. He now gets all of his big dogs back, gets to get them all back and go and get that chance to win in Edinburgh. And that'll be his team talk. Look, boys, we've done everything this year. We've achieved everything we've set out to do. We fell short because of a straight right to Jamie Ritchie's face. And that might be the only reason. So for them, they'll be looking to redeem themselves, go over there and have a huge game in Edinburgh. And, you look at the top 14, you look at the French national team, everyone's now travelling well, everyone's confident, neutral venues. So it'll be a huge test this weekend in Edinburgh, definitely. And for Scotland, grinding results out, but not flying, this is a huge game. Also for them, it's a chance to make history, to match history. I think this will be the 6th consecutive win, which will, match a bit of history. That's the most amount of test matches Scotland have ever won on the trot. If they win that, and then we go on and can beat Fiji. We make history, and that's 7 wins for the first time ever. So, there's motivation there for both sides. In years past, there were sort of dead rubbers in Edinburgh where you had Argentina or South Africa flying over at the end of the year, everyone absolutely wrecked, shattered, just wanted to go on holiday. Now you've got an Autumn Nations Cup, something tangible to play for, and you've got little scores and lots of pride on the line. So should be a tremendous game this weekend.
Well, we've heard your thoughts. Let's get our guest on now and we can ask him about it as well. He's forging a successful career off the field now at Racing 92, but he looks like he could still be playing to me, could still be putting those big hits in. So let's get him on. It's former France back rower Yannick Nyanga joins us. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
We are good. We were just chatting about the France-Scotland game at the weekend. So give us your take. How do you think it's going to go?
It's going to be a tough game because I think on the Galtier era is the only game France lost. So yeah, I think there will be a revenge in the air, and France will be on top for this game.
And you obviously know a lot of the players well in that France camp. So is that what they've been talking about? Have they been talking about revenge?
I don't think they're talking about revenge. There's a lot of youngsters, and they're not in that thing. Like, it's more an old school thing to have revenge, and they just enjoy the thing. But yeah, as competitors, I think that's where they lost the tournament, and I don't think before the game. When you see that they won Wales, they won England, they were supposed to be able to beat Scotland in Scotland, and yeah, I think they've been too naive. I think during this game with the red card of Mohamed Awas. Yeah, it was a good lesson for them, and they build a lot of experience from this game, and I think it will be a good opportunity to show the progress.
It's been the one black spot, that loss in Edinburgh, on France's performance this entire year, the calendar year really. But what have you made generally of the performances and the lift that they've given to the French rugby public with the way they've played?
Yeah, we're really happy because it's been a long time that France hasn't been at that level, and we were struggling as supporters to go to French games and feel like a little bit disappointed game after game and tournament after tournament, and it was the first time in a long time that we could hope a Grand Slam or a win, and that's really cool to have this feeling before game.
We'll come on to the big moments in your career shortly, Yannick, but I just want to go briefly right back to the start, because we had Thierry Dusautoir on last week, and he was talking to us about, growing up in the Ivory Coast, and you were born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I think, but only there as a baby. So just give us an insight into what it was like for you in the kind of early days.
It's I don't have so many memories from that, because when I arrived in France, I was only 3. But I grew up in this atmosphere, thanks to my parents and uncles and aunties around me. So when I grew up, it was something like normal. Like my home was Congo, in fact, because when I could hear the languages from there and see my parents enjoying the way that Congolese people enjoy the life. And when I was out of my home, I was in France. So I grew up in this duality all my childhood, and that's what made me to today. I'm really happy about it. And when I left my home, that's where I felt the need to go back to Congo. So I went there in 2008, I think. And I saw all my direct relatives, my grandmother, grandfather, and it was I think the biggest experience in my life to go back from where I'm from back to my roots, and I think it was like a part of myself missing, and from that I could really grew up as an adult.
And at what age, when you came over, at what age did you start picking up rugby? What age did you get into it, and what were your first rugby experiences?
It's so funny. It was completely luck, because I started rugby. I was 5. I was I don't know the word in English. In French, it's turbulent. Very, very
turbulent.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, as a boy, I was like running everywhere, screaming all the time, and my parents couldn't send me anymore home on the Wednesday afternoon, and I wanted to play football, but as back in the days, you couldn't start football before 6 years old, and I was 5, and my dad was building a house just next to a rugby field, and every Wednesday afternoon he was seeing some kids running around. So he just told me, okay, there's a rugby field. I think it was 2 years or 3 years we were in France. So he said, there's a rugby field with the H post. I don't know which sport is it, but there is some kids running around. Maybe we can go there and see if they can take you. So we went there, and it was a small club in a small city next to Béziers, 20 kilometers from Béziers, called Agde. And the club was there for I don't know, less than 10 years, so they were lacking of kids. And when I arrived there, they told me that I could stay for 1 year just training, and the year after, when I would turn 6, I would be able to play games. So that was good for my dad, who can't stand me anymore. And I went there telling myself, okay, I just go there for 1 year, and then I go to football. This was, I think, 35 years ago, and I never left. So that's really, really, really fun, because I didn't know anything about the sports. When I came there, it wasn't for the sports, but it was just to do some activity. And the friendship I made the first year, the moments I lived for the first year, made me. I couldn't live from that. And especially, we were like a team of 8 or 10 kids. And if I was leaving, I was letting down the boys, because there was always a birthday or something, and someone can come to the game. So we were every game we were exactly the number, no substitutes on the field, exactly the 7 or 8 players. So I couldn't leave, And then year after year, I learned to love that sport, and yeah.
That's amazing to hear that commitment at the age of about 5 or 6. Yeah, I think that's great. But I just want to briefly go back to the Democratic Republic of Congo as well, because I know Johnny's desperate for me to ask this question. But
amazing.
We've done a bit of research, and you said you went back there in 2008. I don't know if you've been back much since, but you obviously made a big impression on them, as well as them making an impression on you, because we've heard that you got voted the 6th most handsome man in Congo this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-mustache. Pre-Movember mustache.
I didn't know that.
There you go. We're breaking news. Johnny.
Well, we thought you were number 1, so we reckon the vote must be rigged, and they need to count every vote, because there's something going on that's not right, mate. Definitely number 1.
We should get your reaction then. No, what's your reaction to that? How does it feel to be the 6th most handsome man in Congo?
That's a huge title, because in Congo, you must know what it's all about in Congo. People say that a Congolese man can be broke, can be sad, can be anything, but he will never be like not fancy. So it's like one of the fanciest country in Africa, and maybe in the world, known for fashion and music. So yeah, I don't know who voted for me, but that's a huge title in Congo.
There you go. I think, like Benji said, shave the moustache and you'll be in the top 3 next year. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to the early days, so you mentioned Béziers there. That was where you really got your start. So just talk us through what that was like at Béziers growing up.
So I spent 10 years in Agde, the small club I told you where I started rugby, and then I think the last 3 years, Béziers were coming to me to sign me for the club. But at this time, in my head, there was no point for me to be professional. Rugby was all about friendship and giving all what you have. And I didn't picture myself as a professional player, so I didn't know anyone in Béziers, so I didn't want to go there. Then the year before I left for Béziers, I went in the high school there. We call that Pôle Espoir. Comment on peut dire ça, Ben?
Yes, some sort of academy.
Yeah. it's like the academy where there is all the best player in the area. And I met a lot of players from Béziers, Dimitri, for example. Dimitri Zarzewski was there as well. And when the coach came and asked me to go, the fact that I knew some players, and the fact that I realized that I wasn't playing at the best level, I went there, and all started so fast. I arrived there, I was 15, I think. And the first year we got the French title in our category. The year after, I was in the under 19 French national team, under 18, sorry, and then so on. I signed my first professional contract. I was 17. I started playing with the first team at the age of 18, 20 years old. I was in the French team. So everything happened so fast, from 15 until 21, and then 21 years old, I left for Toulouse. But all my first professional memories, I got it with Béziers. And when you arrive in a club like this with such a big past, such a big history like Béziers has back in the days, in the 70s and 80s, you just realize what legacy means. So when I arrived in Toulouse, I was already trained to this.
I've got a quick question. So before I ask the question, I was telling the guys, the personality of Yannick is somebody who's passionate, who loves human connections. He gets the biggest kick out of just seeing, smiles all around, positive attitude, a big buzz around the group. He's always the guy who eats for about 4 to 5 hours, but because he's speaking for 4.5 of those hours all the time. That's why he takes so long to eat. Just because he wants people to interact, to chat. He's curious, he's always buzzing. I actually had a question, because without going into making too many generalities, at the time, I'm not so sure there was many black kids playing in Béziers or in Agde. Is that something that rugby gave you? It forced you to sort of go to others, to, give a smile, create connections? Or is it something that was always in you because of your upbringing and your family and whatever?
Yeah, it's hard to answer. That's a good question. I don't know. I think the way I grew up first is maybe made me like this. I grew up in African atmosphere with my parents. Then I was going to a private school, Catholic private school. Like it was a different type of people. Then I was playing rugby, which is a mix of all this, and so I was used to go from an area to another. Like I don't know, in my college there was a lot of posh people. In my neighborhood, it wasn't poor neighborhood, but it's like what do we call
middle class?
Yeah, middle class. Rugby was like a mix of everything. So I was used to that, and I was enjoying the fact. I love to discover people. I love to understand why someone is this way. Why did someone think this way? And I think that's what make myself rich. I'm rich of knowing different type of people. I'm rich of being able to mix people. Like what I'm the most proud of in my friendship is that all my friends, they know from each other. I'm the one connecting each other, and now they are all friends between each other without even me. So I like this thing. I like to connect people, and I like to feel like a good atmosphere around me. I think it's a bit selfish too, I go to the other, but I take pleasure at doing this. So yeah.
Something that might have helped you, mate, is growing up in Cap d'Agde. For our listeners that don't know Cap d'Agde, like I've been there a couple of times with Montpellier when I played at Montpellier on nights out, and I'd never seen anything like it. And so for our listeners, like Tim, you won't have any idea what Cap d'Agde is, but it's the largest naturist site in Europe.
Basically, forget about the dress codes.
It is absolutely, there's no dress code. You turn up in your birthday suit.
You're fine.
Your birthday suit and you're good, but in terms of like being a kid, a young adolescent, like Béziers is obviously a great town as well, but like what was Cap d'Agde like? Can you give us a little insight into Cap d'Agde as a place for our listeners that know nothing about it? You must have some good stories, but more generally, what's it like as a place?
I don't think I get all the stories here.
I think your missus speaks perfect English, mate. You should stop right now. You should stop right now.
But Cap d'Agde is not what people think. That's a neighborhood of Cap d'Agde. There is like the biggest naturist neighborhood in Europe. 10,000 people living like naked. There is like old bakery. You can go there naked, fruits and veggies. You can buy everything. You go to the doctor. You go naked. So it's like a little village, but it's part of the city. So you have like there's a fence just before this village, and you have to be like a resident of this spot to go there. So I didn't grow up naked. If that's
that wasn't what I was insinuating. Just to be clear.
But yeah, it's like it's a great city. The weather is amazing. You've been there in Montpellier. It's quite the same weather. But I grew up I don't know 5 minutes from the beach. So I was going there on my bike every day in the summertime, playing rugby on the beach, and I enjoyed the fact that it was vacation holidays every day. And when you grew up there, you don't realize it, but once you live in Paris, for example, you realize how good it is to like have the sun every day and enjoy people. People are more warm to each other, and yeah. It's a different life from Paris. I think I have to go there 1 or 2 times a year because it gives me all the energy I need for the rest of the year. But yeah, I'm proud to be from there.
Yannick, I had no idea the show was going to go this way. I thought we were just going to talk about rugby, but the 6th sexiest man in Congo, naturism, we're talking about, we'll get to know you very well. All I can say is, I imagine you were very popular back then. The 6th sexiest man in Congo in a naturist site growing up. Anyway, let's get back to the rugby. So you mentioned Toulouse. You moved to Toulouse, spent a decade there, and you talk about the personalities and how that's the main thing you're kind of interested in. You connect people. So just give us an insight into what it was like to play for Guy Noves for a decade and what he's like as a coach and as a bloke.
I always like to say that I've been an adult in Toulouse. You know, from 21 to 31. That's really the 10 years that built myself as a man. And I arrived there as a youngster and as someone just want to enjoy the life. I was enjoying rugby. Things were happening to me very fast, so I didn't have the time to think about it or just to realize what it takes to someone to be in the French team, to be in Toulouse. Things were happening to me very, very fast. And then when you arrive in Toulouse, I think the expectation of someone like Guy Noves just step up like from 2 or 3 level. And I think, yeah, it's one of the best experience in my whole life, playing with such a bunch of good players as I play with, and being that good on the field and that simple outside the field. That's what I will remember for the rest of my life. You had Titi Sotoa and last time. You can see he's one of the best players in the French history of rugby, and he's a very simple man outside the field, very, very humble, and player like Pato Albacete, Freddy Michalak, yeah, they're all great players and very simple in life. So I remember I was seeing Toulouse on TV every time. I like how I want to play there. This is the big club. I saw them winning 94, 95, 96, 97 in a row, the French title. And when I arrived there, I couldn't imagine how simple and how warm they were to me, like helping me to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And yeah, it's even bigger from the inside than from the outside.
And how did the move there come about? Did Guy Noves sort of approach you personally? Like, was it just, how simple was it?
It was, in fact, it was Jean-Michel Rancoul. Jean-Michel Rancoul is the scout, the one scouting for the club, the, the head of recruitment. I think he approached me when I started in Béziers as professional. So 3 years ago, 3 years before I signed, just came to me for a game, saying that he was interested with my profile. That Christian Labitte, which was a former back row, was about to retire in 1 year, and they want me to replace him. So they were happy to me in Béziers to see me in Béziers growing, playing every weekend, and they didn't want me to come back too early to Toulouse. And I remember the fact that he was maybe coming to my house every 2 or 3 months, so I appreciate that. He was calling me when he was coming to see me. Sometimes he was not calling and coming to see me to see if I was different when I knew he was there, if I was different when I was on the bench, for example. He was saying I'm on the bench, he doesn't say anything, just come and watch the game. So I like, and every time on the Monday he was calling me, okay, I saw your game, I went there, and I like your attitude, and I like the fact that this was a solid way of recruiting. And after 1 year, I knew I wanted to play for this club.
And after Béziers got relegated, you ended up making that move to Toulouse. You've talked about how simple and how humble and how good everyone was in the change room. A bit more about Guy Novès. Can you give us a bit more of his insight into his philosophy, the way he ran things, and what he's like as a bloke?
Yeah, he's a special one. He's a special one. I didn't know two people like Guy. He's very hard on it's weird because he's very hard on players inside and very protective outside. So you will never hear him saying something bad about his players. Always positive when we were losing, for example. Always warning in the press conference when we were winning. Okay, we are winning, but he was like lowering the win, but inside the thing, he was really hard on the behavior and on the attitude of players. He was like, all about the team. He couldn't care about the personal issues or the personal interest of one or two players, but it was all about the team. And I think this is what made Toulouse being on top. There was no concession about someone playing for the first team or someone having personal issues, or no, it was like all about the club, and you have to put the club first. And so I don't know if this can stand in the era we're living at the moment, but at this time and the way we were all educated, he was searching for a certain type of players with a certain type of mindset, and yeah, we were all there for the same thing, winning. If we weren't no title, if there was a season without any title, this was a really 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 bad season for us, and you could feel all the preseason and all the season after that everyone was very hard on ourselves. But I think the best his best talent with Jean-Michel Rancoul, he was the who he was hiring. He was always talking to the man more than talking to the player. So he wanted to know you as a man and what you have inside yourself and why you were playing for rugby and why you wanted to play for Toulouse. And he was always questioning that and your pride, and it was all about this, and this was as important as the rugby part. So he was really really good on the rugby part, because you could see that the way Toulouse was playing. I don't think I heard what I heard in Toulouse in terms of rugby anywhere in the world, because it was all about the intelligence of the players, and we were just training the intelligence of the players. So just throwing the ball, reading what you have in front of you, reading what your partner is about to do, react to that, and it was always rewarding the initiative. and not the one. So if, for example, you want to tap a penalty, quick penalty, you want to play. If you lose the ball, you weren't the guy who they were yelling after. It was the one who didn't react to what you were doing. So this is like things that I never heard before, and I never heard after. But that's what make also Toulouse special on the technical part.
So for me, you mentioned how Guinoves was instrumental about pushing people to be better, and how his type of management was very, very special. But you also met another very special type of manager with Bernard Laporte.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could relate, I love the story, of when you told me what he told you before the South Africa game about your tackling technique.
Yeah. Just to finish about Guinoves, because then I have a story about Guinoves to tell you how competitive he is. One day I think it was my first game away in Toulon, and we were in the lift, and we are all in lift, all the players, maybe 5 or 6 players, and we were about to go up in I think it's the 4th floor, and the door were about to close, and Guy arrived, and when the lift was full, so they just said, "Oh, it's too late," and the lift closed, and one of the boys, I think it was Jean Bouillou, just said, "Oh, you see, you'll be upstairs and play like nothing, like he was walking." And I said, "No, it's impossible. It's the 4th floor." And he was like 55 years old, I think. And we went to the 4th floor, and the doors opened, and he was there, like walking, like watching around, like nothing. But he couldn't lose even at this, you know. So it's a different type of people, really. And to talk about Bernard Laporte is a special book too, in a different way, but I think it's one of the 2 most impressive coach I had in my life. We play in South Africa on the tour on 2005. So we drew the first test, and we were about to play the second test. I was 21 at this age. I scored, I think, interception, 40 meters try, and I thought it was a good game. And Bernard Laporte didn't say anything to me bad in the whole week. And just before, I think it was the game was at 4 or something, and it was around 2 or 3 hours before the game. And we were all in the round. He was talking, and he said, "Okay, how physical was South Africa, and we have to answer to that physical part and be very aggressive on the tackles and everything." And he just came to me 2 hours before the game, and he said, "Yannick, you missed a tackle last game. If I see you just not missing, but taking back on the tackle, you will never see the French in your life again." So I was like in the round, putting all this pressure on me. Everyone were looking at me like if I not missing the tackle, just comment dit Ben?
conceding the dominance of the tackle.
And so I have to make offensive tackle, or I never see French national team from my whole life against South Africa. At this time, I was 90 kgs playing back rows. So I made 2 tackles on the 10 and on the 9, you know, and after the pass, I came in around, and it was dominant tackle, just 2 tackles, and then I could continue. So yeah, they were into pressure. It was old school coaches, and this was working at this time. I don't know if this will work today with the youngster we have now, and the way they are feeling, and all this new generation. But it wasn't a good things when you were living that at this moment. But after that, it's still a good thing.
But you've talked about the generational gap and the difference between old school and new school coaches. Obviously, you're still with Dimitri Sarzeski. You're still working together, and now you're in new roles at Racing. How much do you think these roles have changed? You've obviously got a great human touch. You're great with people, so is Dimitri. But how do you see your new role now? What do you do on a day-to-day and a week-to-week? And how much contact do you have with your players? And what do you see as your role now as a facilitator with your group?
Yeah, so my role is a bit special compared to Dimitri. Dimitri is a defensive coach, so he's coaching, and he's really into rugby. As a director of sports, I got like 2 main priority in my job. The first one is in the inside of the team. I'm more link between the player and staff, the leadership group, and the rest of the team, and I'm trying to facilitate life for everyone. And sometimes it can be hard for a player to go and see the coach when you have issues, and it's sometimes more easy to go to me. I've been player not a long time ago, and I can send the message in the best way to be heard. The second part is for me is the also link, but with the outside, with the league, with the federation, with the agent for the recruitment, with the academy. So everything from the outside of the first team has to pass through me, and then I had the chat always with Laurent Travers, and then we think about the politics we want to have for the first team and for the club. So my job is really different. To talk about the new generation, I think we have to be not only coaching them but educate them as well, because compared to our times, they are coming a lot earlier than we do. I don't know if it's the same in England, for example, or in the UK. We erase one category of the young academy. So we used to play in the academy until 23 years old, and now we are playing until 21. So it means that at 21 years old maximum, you have to be ready to play for the first team. And when we were playing, you have to be ready at 23. So this is only 2 years, but at this age, that's a huge gap. So when you were seeing people arriving at the age of 20, 21, they all arrive now at 18, 19. So they are, I think, more prepared physically, technically, maybe tactically, but mentally they are still 19 years old kids. So you need to educate them on so many things. But yeah, I enjoy doing this because they are really listening to what we are saying, and you can feel that they want to succeed. So yeah, in racing, it's more easy.
The reason why we're doing this podcast is also to actually give a real insight of what French rugby is to the UK listeners, because it's always different. And I think racing's image is Jacky Lorenzetti chucking a lot of money and the club inside. You know, they're still stuck into Andrew Mertens used to play for Racing, and Augustin Pichot and all those players, and Sébastien Chabal, Lionel Nalé and all that. We had Joro Kosoko a couple of weeks ago, who was a legend. And I had to admit that there's a true change of politic at Racing into being the sort of French Paris-based club and breeding born and bred players. And I have to admit the rewards at the moment are pretty impressive. Collingar, Teddy Bobigny, Colombe, Boris Palou, all those guys are basically rising up from the ranks, and they were born and bred, and they were in the academy. The huge amount of money was put into the training center to give them the facilities to actually go. So my first question is could you tell us a bit more about this political change about actually having born and bred? And then the second question, you talked about mentality. So I know for a fact that you've helped a lot a guy like Teddy Thomas to mature, calm down, make rugby a number one priority. But there's also another guy that you really helped, and I had doubts at first, and my doubts are completely gone, is Camille. His physical ability is not even a question. But there was also sort of a psychological maturity that he needed to get to become a top hooker, especially in dealing with stress and all. And I know for a fact that you helped him a lot to work on that and to base that. So is that type of work that you were saying that you need to do even more at the moment? You need to educate them. Is that the part of education that you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that, so this, I'll try to separate the
two questions. Sorry.
Yeah. So the first question about the club is, I think this all comes from Jacky's vision. Jacky is a competitive builder. I like to describe him this way. So he's very competitive and he's a builder. So what he want to achieve, he doesn't want just it to be just a one-shot thing, or he want this to last. So on the side, he was like trying to win very quick. That's why he hired all these big players you just mentioned before, Andrew Mertens, Sébastien Chabal, Lionel Nalé, Johnny Sexton. And on the other side, he built the training center to be able to give all these people from all these youngsters from these local breeds, as you call them, the opportunity to build themselves as big players and to build themselves to be the future of racing. So I think the first era was from his start to 2016, the title of 2016 when we won in Barcelona, and from that they replaced all the big players and the historical players by the young blood. And I think what it takes for someone to play for the club of his life, it will be always more than when you bring someone to another club. I love racing, and now it's becoming my club, and more than maybe the rest of the club, because I'm new this club as a player, and now I'm knowing this club from the inside. I'm trying to build something from this club, so I give a lot of myself in this club, but there is nothing compared to what Boris Palu and the mood Boris Palu is before Derby, for example. And all the players, you don't have to tell them what a derby is. They play 100 derbies maybe before playing the first one. And when it come to playing the Stade Francais, it's like they are different blokes. So I think this made this special. You know, we didn't succeed in the last Champions Cup, but the will all these youngsters had to put a star on the jersey is so big that it will happen some days. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I don't know if it's going to be in 10 years but it will happen because as I said first, talking about Jacky, what everything he built, it made to last. So it will come. We will come there. So the only matter is when, but I hope not too long. I hope to be still there to see the star on the jersey, but we will get there. And the second thing about the players and the evolution of the players and my role in this, I think I'm not proud enough to say that I have a part or a big part in this. I think everything's come from the player, and I really sincerely think that rugby is owned by the players, not by the staff, not by the coach, not by anyone, but the players. It's them on the field, it's them missing, it's them succeeding, and we are just. I see myself as a resource for them to be like the best version of themselves. So it comes from them. I can be the best coach or the best director of sport or the best buddy ever. If the player doesn't want to succeed, he won't succeed. And I can be the worst one. If you want to achieve something, he will. So as staff, as coach, as director, we have to be humble in the role we had in the success of the team. And to talk about Camille is a special player, very special player. First, physically, he's a beast. I've never seen someone who got everything like this. Sometimes someone powerful or someone very fast doesn't have pace or endurance, and Camille got it all. So physically, he's a beast. He can be on the bench, impact player. He can be starting playing for 17 or 80 minutes on the field as a hooker and never lower his intensity. He had so much energy that he need to canaliser, to
channel.
Control it.
To control it, and it was like a fire. And I remember he came to me after the game we played in Lyon, I think 2 years ago, the year before the World Cup, and he missed, I think, six throw in the game, and maybe 3 or 4 in a row, and he was really low, and we had this chat together. He told me, no, I want to be a leader of the team. I want to be one day a captain of the team, and I'm not even able to throw and to correct my throw. And he was really down. And we had this chat to just put the path and telling, okay, where you want to be, where you picture yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, and what are you doing to be there? So then we start building a process together, and he start going to see someone, a former player of racing, who's now a mental coach. They start throwing together. He was putting some pressure on himself, just like training as games and everything, and he changed his mindset, and he start be more confident. He start taking the miss not as like the worst thing in the world. Okay, you know that missing is part of the process. To be able to be successful, you have to miss. So now he changed all his mindset, and he's becoming a great player. And I can see that also in the way he's taking the fact that he's on the bench with the French team. I'm sure he want to be in the starting team, and he want more. But the way he's taking it with so much clarity in his mind. Okay, I'm waiting for my time. I'm getting ready to this, and when I will have my time, I'll show what I can do. And if I'm still on the bench, I'll wait for the next opportunity. And he's very simple and very clear in his mind, and that's what I'm proud of him for.
That doesn't happen in every French club. Like having played in 3 different French sides, we didn't have anybody that had that kind of role. You've obviously been chosen because you have a certain skill set, which really helps your team. And you were very humble and said, look, I don't think it's not, as a result of my work that we're going on achieving these things. But like Remy Tales was saying, who's a good mate of yours, Talo, he was saying, look, his role, facilitator, looks after environment, culture, make sure everyone's at ease, personal one-to-one coaching. It's a huge role, and you've obviously done a fantastic job. It also seems like Racing have been ahead of the curve in many ways as well. There were big money buys, big players, but it seems that with the shift towards the importance on GIF players, homegrown players, and formation, Racing has almost preempted this. And obviously that comes from Jacky Lorenzetti. He's the guy that's in control with Travers, and now with you in a fantastic role. Can you give us a bit more insight into what he's like as a man? You've described him as a competitive builder. Other people would say a dictator, drives really hard standards. But in a working relationship, what's Jacky like? He's got a strange reputation. There's obviously things with Mourad Boujela that go back and forward in the press that we see all the time, which are funny. But what is Jacky like actually?
I think is the first thing is as a businessman is like crazy. I never seen someone. I never met someone like Jacky in my whole life as a businessman. The way he see things in advance, and the way he's like. The first thing I was as a director of sport I was arriving at the club at 7:30 or 8 maybe, and I was talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, have you read L'Équipe? Have you read the Midi Olympique? Have you read Les Echos? Have you read Le Monde?" He had maybe read 4 or 5 newspaper at 7. So I was picturing myself, what time this guy is waking up to be able to read 4 or 5 different type, economic ones, sports one, politics one. He was like, he know everything about everything at 7 a.m. So this was like one of the and he is successful in everything. Like he's in wine, he's in real estate, he's in financial things. He got so many different companies, and where he's successful. And he's always here to say that the hardest one is rugby, because rugby is so complex. It's not about, okay, in real estate you just do this, wait for that and do that, and you have the reward. In rugby, you can like everything can be on the green light, but you don't succeed at the end, and sometimes you will win and you feel like you didn't deserve to win. So this is very complex, and I think he's really enjoying the fact that there is this part that it's endless. The success is endless, and it's not because you won yesterday that you will win tomorrow. And also the relationship he has with every one of us in the club. He got I think a special relationship with every players. He know them. He want to know them as bloke. Okay, how you when he sees you in the morning, how your wife is, and he's so different in the outside than in the inside. And in the outside, he can sometimes look cold, and he's very direct. So he can seems arrogant, but I don't think it's just, yeah, he's directing is what he's saying. And from now 1 or 2 years, he just stepped back from the journalists and everything. So we don't hear him a lot like we used to be, because he said, okay, that's not my place there anymore. I just want to be there and help the people, help the players, help the coach, help the staff. It was really, I was really proud during the coronavirus thing, about the fact that he came to us and he said, okay, I'm losing that amount of money. I don't want you to say, okay, you need to lower your pay on 20, 18 or 30%. I just want you to tell me what you can do to help the club. And he just let the players and staff decide what we want you to do. And if we had say, okay, we want to do nothing, we would have said nothing. So we just had a conversation all together and think about, okay, what was the best for us and what was the best for the team. And we decided something and came to him, and he accepted. He didn't even say, okay, no, I want you to do more, or I want you to do less. And so this is really awkward when I see the way racing is pictured from the outside, and when I see the way racing is in the inside. Sometimes I was doing the same thing in Toulouse, and it was like everyone was seeing this and saying, "Oh, that's a good thing." And when you're doing this in racing, it's like no one noticed. No one noticed this, and so I don't know. Maybe our communication is not good enough about this, but I don't think he does that to communicate about it. I think he just do that because he want to do that. And 80% of what is he doing, he doesn't want people to know that. But he's very generous and very hard at the same time. That's hard to explain.
That's a really interesting insight into the pay cuts, especially given what's going on in England and what has happened there. Lots of it has been imposed. So that's great to hear. I just want to go back to your role at Racing, your current role. How did that come about? Was it because Jacky knew you very well and he knew your personality and he knew you'd be good at that job, and so he came to you, or did you go to him? How did that come about?
Until now, I still don't know where does this idea come from in the first place. I just remember the first time that Laurent Travers came to me to talk about this. It was after the loss against, just before or after the loss against Clermont in 2017 in Marseille.
One of the many. Yes.
Yeah, but we won the main one. We lost so many, but we won like the important one.
I wasn't playing, so it's fine.
And so yeah, we were like so in Marseille. He said, okay, I want you to tell you something. Okay, we end the season next season. So we had I had still 1 year of contract with Racing, and he just told me, okay, we want you to be a director of sport at Racing. We are struggling. He was with Laurent Labitte at this time, and he said we're struggling as manager, just being on the field and off the field and on the field and off the field. It's so hard. So we need someone to help us with all the outside part, and also maybe the inside. There is so many names coming, but Jacky is giving name. We don't like the names. We are giving name. He doesn't like the names. And when your name came, it was the first name that, okay, we were on both sides happy with. So that's why we wanted to know if you're interested in this. So I told him I had to think. And first I was really upset about it because I didn't plan to stop. So I was like, yeah, what the fuck is he telling me about? I was like, no, it's not. I still want to play for 1 or 2 more years. I don't know. I was picturing myself playing until the World Cup 2019, and I had all the summer to think about it, and I could see that my body wasn't the same as it used to be. I had the luck to win everything I was involved in the club's part. the title with the top 14 titles, European titles. So I was like, okay, what's the plan? If you play one more year, what will you do after? So then I questioned a little bit more Laurent Travers and Jacky about the position. If it was just like the name of a director of sports, or if in the facts I was really a director of sports. So they just told me what they were expecting from me, and I was happy about it, because they told me also that I will make this job mine. So it's not about, they expect some stuff from this job, but they also expect that my experience as a player, that I bring that to the job and to the club. So yeah, and I thought it was a good story to have the opportunity to prepare all the preseason and all the season as your last dance. it's a common expression now, but yeah. So I played every game this season like, okay, this can be my last game. This can be my last game, and I think I had one of my best season so far, 2017, 2019, and it was a good way to stop. So I have no regrets now.
And just briefly, rewinding a little bit, we've spoken quite a bit about coaches, about Guy Nevers, Bernard Laporte. I just want to ask, because there was a big spell where you didn't feature for France, and it seemed from the outside that you were still playing well. So yeah. That was under Marc Lievremont. Talking about personalities and characters, I mean, Benji's spoken a bit about him as well as the other France coaches. Was there something you've done to annoy him, to piss him off, or what happened?
I don't know. I really don't know what happened. I picture. I asked myself, maybe I did something that annoyed him, or I didn't know, because 5 years is a lot. I sincerely think that the 1 or 2 first years, I wasn't doing the best of myself to be there. So I can understand that the first year, maybe, as I told you, I got everything very fast. At the age of 20, I was playing for French team. I played the 2007 World Cup. I was 22 or 23 years old. So when you are so young, you got so many good things happening. Sometimes I don't think it's good for your career. It looks good, but it's you're in danger. Every success puts you in danger. Well, that's what I think. And you learn a lot more from your loss and from your from your success. So when they arrived, Marc Lievremont, Didier Retière, and Emile Ntamak was in Toulouse. So he just came to me and he said, okay, for the next tournament, we will try some new players. We know you already, so we won't take you for the first 2 games. Don't worry, we know you, and after that we will change the team, and you might be in the team. So I was like confident about the fact, okay, I'm not in the first team. And then call after call, I wasn't seeing my name, and I started first. I was blaming the coaches, blaming everyone, and then I said, okay, maybe you didn't do everything to be there. So I started training really hard to be back. Then I broke my knee, rotula tendon, so it was a 10 months injury. And I went back in, so it was 2009, 2010. I went back there, and I think I was a different player. I was not letting anything to the luck or to anything. I was planning everything. I was watching all my diet, the way I'm training. I was monitoring everything. All the data we are using now, I started using for myself very soon, and with the goal to be back in the French team. And every time I wasn't in naming this, I was, okay, what can I do more to be there? What can I do more to be there? And I came into that process that I didn't want it to tell myself it's over, and so I was suffering a lot not playing for that long for the French team. But when I'm thinking about it now, it's quite the best thing never happened to me, because I will never ever question myself the way I question myself not being in that team for so long, and when I arrived back in the French team, I knew the value of being there. And for example, from 0 to 25 caps, I was changing my jersey every time. From 25 to the rest, I will never ever change my jersey. I maybe one or two times, maybe for this special occasion, but because I really was feeling that every cap could be the last, and this mindset, I think, built something inside me that I try to bring now as a director of sport to the players. But yeah, as I said, you learn a lot more from your loss than from your success.
You mentioned Emil Entermek had that conversation at the start, but over those 5 years, were there not more conversations where you were saying, what do you want me to do? Like, what can I do more? And there was no kind of communication.
No, because maybe that's a mistake, but at this time, I was thinking, I was telling myself, I don't like to go and ask the coach why I'm not playing, because I was starting from the fact that when you're playing, you never go and ask the coach why I'm playing. So why will you go to see him when you're not playing? It's not. It's written anywhere. It's not written that you are supposed to play on your contract. No, you're supposed to train hard and you're supposed to help the team to win. So if you're playing or not, that's not an issue. So I was, I don't know. Maybe I should have go, and I don't know if it was good to me to go, but I didn't want to go, and it was a bit like downgrading myself as well. I
think it's more surprising that someone like Marc, who's taken over, and you've already got that amount of caps, that he wouldn't come to you and say, "Look, if you do this, this, and this, it might help." Yeah. I kind of meant more from that side. It's more
exactly, yeah.
But that's
never
one of the
did,
hardest.
So, yeah,
it's one of the hardest bits as a player when you're not getting picked.
Yeah,
you're trying to do everything you can in your bubble to make sure you get better, so that your performance is good, so you do get picked. But you also don't want to appear arrogant, or you don't want to pick up a phone and say, why am I not playing, coach? Because then if you burn that bridge once and the coach decides, well, this guy, a bit of an attitude, he's gone, then you're really, really gone. So that's the hardest bit. Like, I've been through it as well. It's horrible, and you never know where you stand, and then afterwards you have regrets because you haven't picked up the phone, but you don't want to burn that bridge, so you can't do it. It's a horrible thing.
And I was like, he said, that's exactly this. And I was like, in my mind, I say, he'll pick me, he'll pick me, he'll pick me. And I remember telling myself in front of the 2011 final, when they made the V against the Avies, and I was in Toulouse. We were in the whole team, the restaurant, watching the game, and I was like, okay, no, I think this time
he's not phoning.
He will never pick me, But it's like when they made the V, that I told myself I won't be there. It's like, I don't know, maybe the day before they can call me and I jump in the plane and fly and I play the final. I was so much in my process that I was like, okay, just do your things, and it will pay one day. It will pay one day. It will pay one day. So, okay, it didn't when I wanted to, but after some years, it pays off.
It did, and we spoke quite a bit to Benji and to Thierry Dusautoir last week about the 2015 World Cup. Obviously, for you, it didn't pay off with Marc Lievremont, but it did when Philippe Saint-André came in. So just give us an insight into what he was like to play for, because obviously now he's with Montpellier. And we know him well over here in England as well. But also how it ended, because you retired after that game against the All Blacks in 2015, just like Thierry Dusautoir did. Benji's spoken about it at length, but just give us your insight.
I didn't retire. I just never got picked again. It's different.
I didn't retire too. I'll never say I retired from the French team.
You're still available if Fabien wants you. You're still available.
No, but I'm one of these guys saying that you can't say you retire from the French team, because it means that if you say you retire, it means that no matter what, you will have been picked. So Michael Jordan can say he retired from something. Roger Federer can say he retired from something. I don't know. Richie McCaw can say he retired from something, or Dan Carter. But I don't think Thierry Dusautoir can say that as well. But I don't think that there is so many players that can say, okay, I go. And I every time I hear that made me laugh, because okay, you retire, but are you sure that they would have picked you if you're still on? So yeah, I definitely didn't retire after the the 2015 loss, especially when you get hammered by the ABs the way we got hammered on that game. You don't want it to be your last game. The fact is that after that, Guinoves just said that I won't pick any players after 30 years old. So my case was closed very fast, but I didn't retire. Talking about Philippe Saint-André and the World Cup 2015, I think Philippe was a good coach in all the organization, all the process. He's very English in his way of see the things, a lot into numbers and stats. I don't think he had the best chance to be successful, about the fact that all this war between clubs and federation in France, it's really hard to have players. We were meeting just, I don't know, 4 or 5 days before the game. He was asking for 15 days before the game. So many things he asked that are now common in the Fabien Galtier era, for example. I think if we had this, we could have done a bit better. The problem is what I think in France, the main problem is identity problem. What do you see? And it's not a coach problem. It's not about Marc Lievremont, Philippe Saint-André, Guinoves, even Bernard Laporte. The fact is, how do you name your coach? What you want France to be like? And because for me, when your coach is Pierre Villepreux et Philippe Scrella as coach, they are a different way to see rugby. It's like the Toulousian way. Then you hire Bernard Laporte, which is very all about defense, very physical, and then you hire Marc Lievremont. Marc Lievremont is more play from everywhere, just play. And then you hire Philippe Saint-André, which is, I told you, more English, more in numbers, and then you hire so it's different way of seeing rugby. It means that you have 30 caps with Marc Lievremont. It's totally different that with Philippe Saint-André. And it's like every time it's a new story. When you see the ABs, for example, they just had Graham Henry, and then they have Stevenson, which was his assistant coach. So it's quite the same. And then now it's Ian Foster. So it's been 20 years it's the same story evaluating. So that's, I think, the main problem in France is this. And now we have someone which I think is good. I hope that we will stick to our identity. And I don't know if Fabien Galtier will be successful, but we need to think about, okay, what is the French rugby? Does the French flair exist or not? Can we win this way? Can we win that way? Is it just about winning? Or if it's about winning ugly, or if it's about, we're French. So as French, we like finest things. So it's not about winning. It's about winning in the best way. So is it something we have to think about in the rugby we want to play? Yes or no? And from that, we have to hire the best ambassador of this type of playing. And for me, they are talking about generation. They are talking about, say, we had a bad generation now and we have a new generation now. I don't think that's the problem of generation. I think that's a problem of identity. And the main thing, if you listen to the players now, is that we know which type of rugby we want to play. We know where we want to go. And that's the main thing. And from the oldest part, I don't say that the different coach didn't want, didn't know where they wanted to go. But the general atmosphere at the union and in the French team was so different from a coach to another that it was really hard for players to picture themselves.
I think it's obviously been really unsettling that there's been so many coaches and so many different identities, as you put it, but ultimately none of them have been as dominant or won as many games as they should have, or people would want to see a French nation win. The difference now, I think it's easy to say that the identity is good, but there's a good coaching staff. France are now playing a good brand of rugby. They're organized, they're committed, they're physical. and you can see everybody in that team has got a smile on their face and they're happy. That's why the French rugby public is delighted for them, as we are. For you, Yannick, how happy or how impressed have you been with the coaches and the changes they've made to this French national team?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy because, as I told you, you can see where they want to go. You know, I love an interview from Fabien Galtier 2 or 3 days ago. He was talking about the way he sees rugby. He say I'm looking. I want the players to look for the spaces everywhere they are. So the spaces you can find a space with your kick. You can find a space by running around. You can find a space by a pass. And I want to teach the players to that. And I love the vision he has. And at least he has a vision, a simple vision that everyone can understand. And from that simple vision, he then had a lot more details in everything. Okay, we see the space by kicking. How do we kick there? We see a space by carrying the ball. How do we go? How do we support? And how do we transform from what we see to another place? So there is a lot more of vision on everything we do. I think we change what not a lot of people talk about as well. It's like we changed the way we form players. We are 2 times champion in under 20. This never happened for a long time for France. So Sébastien Picconi, which is the head of academy in the French national rugby, is doing an amazing work. And I also think the clubs are doing a great work too. You can see clubs like Clermont, clubs like Racing, Toulouse. They are building some very good players, which are ready very quick for the best level. So yeah, I hope that and I think that France will have a bright future very soon.
We talked about how you've helped Camille, and Benji also mentioned, and he likes to mention Teddy Thomas, who obviously you know from Racing, as well as he's in the France camp at the moment. Obviously, he had a few issues in Edinburgh a couple of years ago that we won't go into. But just from a general point of view, obviously he is an interesting character, isn't he? He's a free spirit, I guess. But just talk to us about how he's kind of changed over the years and what he's like as a bloke.
He's a special one as well. He's very good, very good in so many ways. I never seen someone so fast and powerful. I never seen someone gifted the way Teddy Thomas is gifted. He got one day they were doing some speed with all the backs. He had an injury to his hamstring. And the doc say there is no way you run. And there was this 2 cells. It was 10 and 20 meters, not to. So and the backs were doing this, and it was I think 1 or 2 weeks to start to be back with the team. So he was just start jogging, and they were doing the score and pushing each other, and then they finish, and I was behind, and he just wanted for himself to see what it was like. He didn't even warm himself or nothing. He just started and did the 10 meters, and he beat the score by so far. I think it was 10 or 20% faster than the rest of the team. So that's the way he is. And he can look. It looks like he's easy or he doesn't do things fast. But when you see him on the field and when you have the numbers and the GPS, he is very fast. So when he looks like he's what we call in French un faux lent, a fake slow man, you know, he's not. He can look lazy and fake, but he's not. I had the same impression with Rupeni Dada. He was the same. When you see him running, he was like, oh, he's fat. He doesn't. But when you are next to him running, you can feel how fast he is. So that's the first impression that is bad from Teddy is this on the field. The other thing is outside the field. Teddy He's special as well. He's special as well. Benjamin know him very well as well. He's a special bloke because he's generous and a very attaching in a way. And he's so there is so sometimes he's so he can be an ass, not on purpose, but he just needed to know that the world around him works with or without him. So he better have to fit this world. In fact, he can be himself. He can be himself. We don't want him to change as a man because he's a very good man, but he has just to understand some rules. That was the starting point from our relationship with Teddy, because Teddy was like, okay, I just do that because I want to do that, and I don't think about the impact that things have on the others. So we start from that, and now what I'm happy with is like he's now teaching this to the youngster coming to. So sometimes I'm just in my office listening to him telling to this guy not to do that, or to explaining the way he is, and I'm just smiling inside me because at least he got what we said, because it's not just me. You were talking about Remy Thalès. Remy Thalès was like he used to call us dads, Remy and I, because we were always after him, always, pushing him and okay, you didn't have the good clothes, you didn't have this, you didn't have that, just go and change. And from that, so I think at some point it was like aiding us with Taro, but yeah, the goal was the pain.
And one other player I want to get your opinion on, just because I think you've been so interesting on the mental side of things and the work you're doing at Racing. I know he's injured at the moment, but obviously he's very relevant for this weekend's fixture, Finn Russell.
Yeah.
How is he obviously he's settled in very well. He's playing hugely well for Racing, but on that mental side of things, we see him juggling balls and doing kick-ups in the warm-up, and he's obviously a very different character as well. Has he got a bit of French in him, do you think? And how do you guys manage him at Racing?
Yeah, he's one of the most French from the UK, and no, Finn is also. I think first of all you have to be special to get to this level, because it takes you so many things. You need so many hard work, so many losses, so many disappointment, so many frustration, that you have to be special to be on top and to be one of the best. So Finn is one of them. He helped us a lot in the last success we had. He looks like it's the same. He's not the way he looks. For example, he looks very detached from things, but I can tell you that he's very into process in his mind. He's the writing a lot of stuff. He's always at the video, watching games, the opponent, watching all the trainings, the way he trained, what he could have done more, taking the players. Okay, I want your line to be this way and not this way, because when you do that, I can reach the other one. He's always talking to the boys. His French is on point, because he doesn't speak French a lot, but when he has to say something, he just say it in French in the best way possible. The thing with Finn is like you need to get him. So what I like to say, and I think everyone agree with this point of view at Racing, is that it starts from the player. Okay, who the player is, how we see things, and does it fit with our mentality? Does it fit with our vision? And if it doesn't fit with our vision, we propose him something that can be better for him and also for us. And from that, we try to build a way or a process to get along. And that's the way we process with Finn. I think the first year when he arrived, he had 6 first months, amazing months, and we were playing so good with him. Then he went with with the Scotland for the tournament, and it came back like a bit different. We didn't knew at this time all the issues he had with the coach and everything. It just seemed different. So we thought first that okay, we play a lot in the top 14 Champions Cup, internationals. We are almost every year around 35 games to play. So maybe it was a bit more. And then we try to manage not to playing too much, and we also try to know him, like what he thinks was the championship and everything. And then we heard about the thing in Scotland and with the national team, and we try to put him in the best condition. Okay, what do you think will be good for you? And then we try to put him in this condition never without how can I say that, doing something bad for the team. So it wasn't about Finn Russell. It was about Finn Russell in racing, and that's really important. It's not that we put the players above anything. We have rules here, and we are very very clear image of very clear vision of what we want to be and what we want to achieve, but we want to help the players to be in that process.
So you mentioned what Finn was like when he came back from Scotland camp. Did he kind of tell you what had happened, or did he give you an impression of what was going on at that time?
Yeah, of course we can say everything he said, because I really believe that what happened in the team has to be in the team. But the thing is that I think is the how can I say that in English? The lack of le manque de souplesse, comment je peux le dire ça?
Flexibility.
Yeah, the lack of flexibility that was in the Scottish team at this time. So things were like this and that, and that's what I was saying to you guys before. I don't think we as staff, coach, own the rugby. The rugby is owned by the players, so they need to really believe in 100% of what you're doing. No matter if it's a good way or a bad way, they need to believe in it, because if they believe in it, even if it's the bad way, they will get through it. If it's the good way, they will be one of the best successful team ever. But they need to believe that. And if you come with the fact that, okay, I got this idea of rugby and this is this way, and you have to listen to me and do that. I don't know if that's exactly what Grothausen is doing, because I just have like one part of the story. But I think that it's hard to get all the players on board. You know, you will always have like one of two players that they have, and especially Finn, this type of player, you need to have like intuition. He loves to play with some intuition, so he loves to the thing to be structured, but you need to have like these spaces where he can does what he knows the best. It's like this little chip that made us win against the Saris, for example, and you need to have that, and from to get him successful in a chip like this, or in a fast pass, you need to accept that sometimes he can miss as well, because what he obtained is not common. So when he's successful, everyone is like, oh, he's a genius, he's a magician and everything. But when that's the problem of this type of players, is like when they succeed, they are on top, and when they miss, oh, why he attempts this? It's so difficult to, yeah, but he can't do that. So if he doesn't attempt it, how you want it to be successful in this? So it's hard for me to say what's wrong in Scotland, because I'm not there, and I'm just about Finn's feeling, and you don't question feelings. If he feels that something happened for him to think that, but for sure there is a discussion to have and a talk to have to get on the same line.
And Yannick, if he's coming up with that magic, you need to let him have 3 beers as well, don't you?
Exactly, exactly. Then he doesn't need to miss to drink beers.
No, I don't want to stir up some shit memories, but obviously the Exeter Chiefs lost in the Champions Cup final. I know more than anyone what it is. Shit happens.
Yeah.
Rugby is tough. You can go up and down. I just feel in my outside eye, I didn't recognize you guys on the team on the day. I think unfortunately you will live with regrets that I lived for a long time with, that you just weren't 100% of who you could have been on the day.
Yeah.
Shit happens. We're all humans, and that doesn't mean that Exeter don't deserve it. I think there was some poor decisions by the ref, Hidalgo Klein on the line. For me, that is too much. That is too much. It was too unclear and too much a big heavy decision. Oh well. But there's also something that was quite heartbreaking to see, to be honest, is the complete meltdown of Teddy Ribaren. Teddy Ribaren is not really well known in the UK, but my God, he's a tiny little thing that's got a heart big like this, who's got massive balls, and who is just talented as can be. For me, it was his time to shine. It was his time to get his reward, and to be like, holy shit, he's actually a massive player. I don't understand why his name is not really chucked around in the French team more. I mean, why not? He's only dominating rugby at the moment, and it was his time. And now that I understand his technical meltdown was a physical meltdown, to be fair, it's an impossible situation. When you're about to grab your glory to pull out of the game the day before, if you're not 100%, because nobody's ever 100% when you play a game. So I would have not had the courage to pull out, to be honest, not for such a big game, not when you've been waiting for this for your whole time. So just want to have your take on that episode as a club, but also just how is he? Is he all right? Is he coping with it? Has he swallowed it? I don't think he'll ever swallow it, but is he coping with it?
Yeah, I think he doesn't have the choice. He has to copy with this, and we also all have to do that. I think this is everyone lost. There is not. I don't like to point anyone in this. Of course, this case has a huge impact on the score, but it was like we prepared this final, I think, in the best way we could. We had this problem with coronavirus, I think 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks before the final, and we went in camp in Paris first, and then in Corsica, and working on every details on the final, and and after that, Teddy felt his addictors, and just told to the doc and coaches, and we said, okay, let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna test you, and we will feel like if you're able to play or not. We test him the day on the final. He kicking the ball, the passing, running, accelerating, and everything were right. So he said he could play, and so we played him. And during the game, we could see that something was wrong, but we were asking him, "Are you right?" And then he was, "Yeah, no, I'm good, I'm all good." And he was like doing something very, very bad, and then doing something very, very good after that. And so it was really, really hard for him, and I prefer for him to kick in the ball and like pull his hamstring, not being able to walk and just go out. It would have been easier, but we could see that. I don't know if you remember the game, but he helped us in the first try after 4-0. Max was about to come in, and then we just break the line for, I don't know, 60 meters, and he was every time accelerating the game and continuing the momentum, and we scored a try, and he was, no, I'm good. So yeah, this first half, because it's the whole first half, was too many ups and downs in this, and which we decided to change him because it wasn't possible at half time, and even with this, we almost came back in the game. We came, I think, 28-27, 5 minutes to go. We had this opportunity to score 3 points. We kicking the line out, yeah, there is so many things in this final went wrong, and we are so close from the title that yeah, just changing one thing, I think could have been better for us. That's the way it is. I think we need to learn about this. I don't like to talk about the referee because there is things that you control, there's things that you don't. You never control the referee, so that's he has to play his part. He'll be judged for that by his superiors, and we have to give credit also to Exeter because uh, I don't think they were really better than this, but than us, sorry, but they play at their best, and so they won. That's simple as that. Every opportunity they had in our camp, they scored every time. The captain made 100% in the post. We missed, I think, a 4 or 5 kick, and we lost by 4. So yeah, on this game we had so many opportunity to win and we didn't. But so we have to blame ourselves, and all of us, not only Teddy, all of us at some point missed something or didn't do something that could have made us win. And I think I told you before, that's the best lesson. There is no better lesson than this. You know, I don't know if we will be back on track this year or the year after for another final, but I can tell you that if there is one doubt on a player, we won't take the risk on that, and also the players themselves. You know, they will be harder on themselves in everything, and I wish it will help us for the future.
And a lot of people are talking about the psychology of losing 3 Champions Cup finals, but anyone listening to you today and hearing your positivity and hearing you talk about the work you're doing on the mental side of things, I mean, they couldn't be in better hands. So I'm sure you'll be back, and fingers crossed for another Champions Cup final this year. Just before we let you go, you're obviously doing amazing work. You're really enjoying your role at the moment. Where do you see yourself going? Is this the kind of role that you want to do for another 10, 15, 20 years, or do you want to coach? What do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm happy this way, taking things to another. The first thing that I want to be successful with racing in my position. I want to be successful, and if I get successful one day, I'll picture myself maybe in a different position. Yeah, coaching can be one of them because I still have the love for the game, and every time, even if it's not my role, I love to go on the field and just watching some players, and also help me when I'm talking to them outside the field, because I know exactly the way they think, and I love to still travel with the team and be there at the game, giving some thoughts to the coaches, and yeah, it's more informal. It's not my job. It's more as a former player, but yeah, that's also something I love. But it's impossible for me to picture myself more than in 2 years at the moment. I want to enjoy the thing. I want to form myself as well. I'm passing some diplomas for 3 years now, different diplomas, management diplomas. I might pass an MBA very soon in 2 years. I want to pass my coaching diploma as well. So yeah, so many plans to picture myself in more than 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show and giving us your insight, and massive good luck for this season with wrestling. And who knows, maybe see you as head coach as well at some point in the future.
maybe. Thank you very much. It was a good chat. It's not often that we have the time to talk about things like this and develop things the way we think. It was just a personal vision of my personal vision of rugby, nothing more. I don't like to teach lesson to anyone, but yeah, it was good to express myself. Thank you, guys.
Legend.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, Yannick.
Cheers.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Cheers.
How nice a bloke is he, though?
Yeah, he's
He's
lovely.
Don't get better.
Yeah, he's lovely. He's genuine. He's very. We don't have time because we spoke about rugby. He's also interested about a million different things. He's always had a sort of an intellectual curiosity about loads of things, different people. And he's one of those guys, honestly, I mean, if I had to create a team and he's just amazing in the locker room. He's always been in Toulouse. He was close. He was the one linking the Luke McAllister and the Byron Kelleher and the Census Johnson, and he was the one making them sort of connect with all the youngsters. He's always done that. He's the cement of the team, and he's absolutely adamant. And but he can't say negative things about people just because he's kind and
He ain't gonna be a coach. There's no way. Like, he's got to go from being Racing. They'll get a star on their jersey eventually. Like, the way they're going, they're going to be awesome over the next few years. And then, like, you could see him hopping up to the French team, but not being like head coach, but being like director of or manager of and looking after everybody and just doing a good job. I think, to be honest,
him and Thierry, because I know we spoke about it already, because I'm doing an MBA as well at the same time, we're all saying, let's be legitimate outside of rugby. Let's build ourselves. Let's get a bit of experience. Let's give it a couple of years just to grow, to see how good we could be. And then something will have to be brought back to French rugby, not necessarily in coaching, but like developing the game, just making it better, leaving it in a better place than we were. And I think Yannick would be fantastic in that role, sort of director of development of the federation, 100%. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just to bring it to the next step in modernity.
You could see him. We also forgot to ask him. I want to ask him about, the really famous fight that he was Béziers against Perpignan. Completely forgot to ask him. But if you're listening, or this has been recorded, Tim, if you can, go on YouTube, type in Nyanga, Béziers. The first thing that comes up is their scrap.
Him and his mate Dimitri Zarzeski. It's like a 4-minute long fight of 15 against 15. It's legendary.
And it is epic. And Nyang does not hold back. He's awesome.
He was my French captain of the under-21s, and he said that he got called really, really young. So we were at the World Cup under-21s in Glasgow, and he got the French call-up that week. We were there, so we clapped him off because he just got called by Bernard Laporte to go to America. There was a tour in the USA and Canada, and he got picked when he's just 20. And that same World Cup is the one that I start the whole World Cup because Dimitri Zarzeski got 4 months suspension for that fight, where there was 17 red cards or whatever. There's like high kicks flying everywhere. Epic. It was Thai boxing. It wasn't rugby.
It was amazing.
Amazing to hear his insight, especially on the mental side of things and everything that happened throughout his career. We touched on Scotland, France with him. We spoke about it a bit earlier on, but just want to get your prediction so I can call you on it next week. What's going to happen? What's the score going to be?
I was very scared when I saw the original rotation of the squads, considering how positive and full of self-belief and strategy and just strong Scotland look. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but Flynn Russell or Gavin Hastings will not be playing this weekend.
Gavin's definitely not playing. Adam might be. No, neither of them are playing. so Flynn nor Adam, neither of them are playing. It'll be Duncan Weir will be starting again. Yeah.
Who did a terrific job, and I thought he looked like a little bullet against Italy, and he really did not hold back. But he's not Flynn Russell, and I think they will need a bit of that extra creativity to beat France. And so I was afraid of those rotations. But now that I see that they were able to hold back on them, I really do think France will do the job with the extra motivation that you mentioned before we spoke to the legend Yannick. It's just too big, too important. So I see a big win would be like a 5-point win, basically. So I'd say 20-15 or whatever to France.
It's really horrible because I don't want
you hate to admit it. You hate to admit it, but you almost agree with me, right?
Well, the thing is, I absolutely want the Scottish side to make a little bit of their own history. I mean, it's been a pretty damp, like the past few years have been pretty dull in Scottish rugby, but the exact same is happening in French rugby. I want both teams to win. I want Scotland to win their 6th consecutive game. I also want France, for the romanticism of not winning, to overturn that result and, get that one up. And it's going to be really tight. I'm struggling to... Obviously, I want to say Scotland because I'm Scottish and I want the Scottish boys to do it. The only bit where I see a little bit more power is the French backline. That is if you compare Duncan Weir, Sam Johnson, Chris Harris, and then you take Jalabert, you take a Fiku if he's in at 12, you take a Vakatawa, I just see the power play and the possibilities that they've got coming into play. That might be the deciding factor. So my heart says Scotland and my head says France. My heart says Scotland by 5 points. And
what does your passport say? What does your passport say?
I'm a dual passport holder, mate. So
it's a win-win.
My head says France by 5.
What does your tax bill say?
Both. It kills me to do it, but I'm going to say France by 4. There you go.
Finally, a bit of sense.
We will see. We will see. And just briefly touching on the top 14, you mentioned Jalibert there, who looks like he's going to be playing for France this weekend. He was playing in the top 14 at the weekend. Christophe Urios went back to his old club and got a win, didn't he? So a few talking points there.
Yeah, I'll let you finish that one, Johnny, because you know Castres inside out. But from an outsider's point of view, who doesn't know them inside from the inside, Castres have always played a very edgy rugby. Okay, it's part of who they are. They want to be a bit rough, play with get you hyped up and get you just to lose your self-control. To be honest, I think that's part of rugby. Rugby is confrontational. It's physical. It's a mind game. So the Rory Cocotte, the Babillot, they love, a little extra shove and to step on your toes and and that's what Christophe Urios basically built into them. And Mauricio Rejardo, who now took on the show, will be no different. And it was one of those games that was just a bit ugly to see. It was the big rivalry with Christophe Urios bringing back Bordeaux to Castres, so there was a bit of tension. I'm sure he pumped them up during the week massively about, listen, he was not pumping them, but hyping them or whatever, it was really strong motivation. And long story short, the whole game was tense. And on the final winning, penalty for Bordeaux at the winning try at the 81st minute or something like that, Jalibert, who did start, who was on the bench now with a bib because he got subbed off, comes in to congratulate his teammate. But while he's running to congratulate him, makes a proper detour to go hit the head of Julien Dumora, the fullback of Castres, just to wind him up basically, and it started a bit of a scuffle. So for me, he crossed the line. It was uncalled for, a bit aggressive for nothing. He apologized. He did get pushed. He did get that provoked. He was answering something, yes, but it is one of those nasty things. If you want to answer something, just try to smoke somebody in a tackle. Just try to clean somebody in a ruck and actually hurt them. But pushing, shoving, whatever, when you're on the bench, you're not meant to be on the line. It kicked off a big fuss about the new generation is disrespectful. These are you're basically shitting on the values of rugby, this and that. And on top of that, he's got to start for the French team. So there's a lot to it. I think he made a mistake. He's going to have to live with the consequences. He's apologized. Shit happens. It should not happen again. We have to be very careful with that type of behavior on the rugby field, because that's just completely counterproductive and can have a very negative image just for rugby in general. I do not think it's going to impact his game against Scotland. And I just hope that he's going to show enough composure and he's just going to learn from it to be able to have the talent, but also have the brains to stay cool in all situations.
I think the horrible thing for him and all the young players coming through is it's kind of the world we live in. So because of the rules we have and the rule changes over, like when we started, if you did something like that, you'd expect to get your face caved in. Like if you were at Leicester or it just wouldn't happen. If you were playing rugby in the south of France, you behave like that, the next ruck that's coming, you're either going to get fish hooked, eye gouged, or you're going to get your face shooed, something's going to happen. The problem is now there's no comeuppance, there's no price to be paid apart from public enemy number one, maybe a bit of shit thrown your way on Twitter, but that's it. I mean, that's Jalibert, that's one game, but I mean, obviously, Babu, you talk like the crowd at Castres is like no other. Cocotte, every game, there's something he does. Babio, they call it anti-jeu, or there's always something niggly. I think it's almost going to have to go the way. Like, I'm fed up of watching, you see like the push, like O'Mahony, like every single game, there's like a shoving contest. Like, it bores me. I'm like, nobody's ever going to swing. Nobody's ever going to win. So just stop. I almost think it's going to go the way. They're going to have to get it out of the game, because it's going like football in that you've got simulation, you've got people faking, and it's not nice to watch. I would almost consider, like World Rugby brings in rules every year, some sort of, look, can we do something for unsportsmanlike conduct? Like the amount of times you see somebody patting on opposite position's head after giving away a penalty, or they've been dominated in a tackle, or like, just get on with it. Just like the game's a physical confrontation, do the physical bit, but the mental, psychological, like putting down people, or we don't need it. And that was an example of that. Jalibert, again, absolutely no need. Looks like a complete twat. And it sours the win. It should have been a great win and a great finish, but everyone's talking about his actions and the way he's behaved. Like, Whereas if he knew that he did something like that, he's going to get an automatic ban, or it's going to be like NFL, they're going to get points deducted, or you restart the game at the 22 because somebody's done something stupid. You would have games or behaviors corrected there live, and it would be stamped out of the game. And it's just not something I enjoy watching. I can't deal with people tapping each other's heads or, shoving faces in the, like, it was unnecessary, and I don't enjoy watching it. And Jalibert, again, like, he's got all the talent in the world, so why? Like, you've got no need to do that. Just get on with it, have a bit of class.
To the point, Johnny, that you think in the long run, if they do implement sort of a penalty, a yellow card or something, to the point you think we could see a ref or a World of Rugby where they score the winning try and they turn around because Jalibert was playing up there.
I would.
The try would be disallowed. I mean, that's what we're talking about. That's
or a TMO or points awarded automatically for some sort of poor behaviour, because it's horrible to watch. I can't deal with watching it. And the amount of times you see, like everybody knows, you watch rugby, you shake hands, people respect the referee, you talk back, you get marched back 10 yards. But there's all sorts of scenarios now that creep in through physical confrontations and things happening after tackles or after scrums or after tries, where people get away with things and it's snidey, and I don't like the attitude. And I don't think it's part of our sport. People see things, people see the respect, the culture, the values that we have. And I feel like something could maybe be done to tweak the rules so this kind of stuff gets stamped out, because it's not good to watch. Nobody enjoys seeing that. I hate it.
Definitely one we can revisit in weeks to come. But just while we're on the top 14, it's sort of a catch-up weekend this weekend. But La Rochelle Racing looks like a big one, doesn't it?
Yeah, La Rochelle, I praised them after the win against Clermont, and they're really dominating, and I think they're a serious contender for top 14, but then they got completely spanked in Stade Francais. They just did not show up. Maybe left a little bit of, not a lot of more, petrol in the engine after playing Sunday night against Clermont to play against Stade.
They rotated a little bit, eh?
Just a tiny bit, but they still had a strong team and stuff. But Stade, as I said, if they start clicking with Gonzalo Quesada and they're missing Pablo Matera and all that and all the RGs, be careful with Stade.
How good was Makalou?
Yeah, he is breathtaking. He is breathtaking at the moment. His only issue, to be honest, is that he can't play 6 because Olivon is the captain. He can't play 8 because Alderit is just the tank that the new Louis Picamol that France needs and is so important. It's going to be complicated for him to play 7 because François Cros is becoming a line-out leader. Arthur Ituria, who is not dead, is not far, and he's very, very good. But if he starts playing either impact player, because he can play either of the 3, or just 8, he is a freak of nature. He is extremely fast. He is made for international rugby. He reminds me of a young Scottish number 8 who was very, very quick, and his name is Jonathan Beattie.
Simon Taylor.
Or Simon Taylor. But he is freak of nature, quick, fast, made for international rugby. I cannot wait to see him go into the French team. My only issue is where? How does he fit?
Man, I just get him in. Like, get him in on the bench. He can cover all 3. He's freakish impact player, but that's it. If there are injuries anywhere, you could stick him in at 6, 7, or 8, and he can start easily at international level. He's been unlucky with injuries that he hasn't started or been involved more in the camps and tests, but like on physicality alone, he deserves to be there. There's nothing else really like him, I would say, in the Six Nations tournament. I can't think of another back rower as physically talented as he is, and he would absolutely dominate on a Six Nations level. That physicality, international level, good pitches, hard grounds, he would be ridiculous. So he was in his tries again this weekend. He looks so easy. We talked about Teddy Thomas earlier being effortless. Makalou's another one. When he's ball in hand, he's just poetry in motion. Watching him is easy. And every time he gets the ball, he does something. And obviously, I think at Stade they play the 1-3-3-1 system. So he's out on the wings, but that's it. When he has time and space on the ball, he can finish things off. He's looking to offload. He's running good lines off people that can offload. He's clearly smart with his play as well. So I can't wait to see him go up another level. He was awesome again at the weekend.
Yeah.
And the fact that he isn't in that France squad, just a sign of the strength and depth that Fabien Galtier has at the moment to choose from.
Well, he was going to be in the squad until then Fiji cancelled their game and they just decided to transform the squad. So I think basically they just pushed it one game. Test. I think he'll start against Italy.
Okay.
I think he'll start against Italy, and he's a strong contender for the last game as well.
We look forward to seeing him there, and we look forward to watching the Kaiser Beatty derby this weekend. So you've both predicted a France win. So I was expecting some edge, but we haven't got it there.
I told you what my heart said. We'll just go with that.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll chat about that next week. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Benji. Massive thanks to Yannick Nyanga. And thanks to everyone for listening as well. Make sure you hit subscribe, leave us a nice review, and we'll be back with another episode next week.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, fellas.
Have a good one.